All Republicans, all Democrats who attended that meeting, except Devin Nunes, have now come forward and have said that there's absolutely nothing there. So I don't know how many more exploding cigars the Republicans are willing to smoke that the president offers them, but it's time to just stand up and say, this is nonsense. This invades upon the rule of law in our country, and we're not going to, be accomplices to this obstructive behavior by the president. I really don't see the need for it, and I wish Paul Ryan would just quash it.
Welcome to the Dell Virtual Playground. You have selected the sales office.
That doesn't seem likely, but I like your optimism. Let me ask you to respond to something the Associated Press
Welcome to the sales
this
office.
afternoon. The Democratic congressional leaders
You
have
have
said that
90
giving Trump
seconds
or
to
his
find
lawyers
5
access to
Optiplex
the materials would
Micro.
set a
Okay,
dangerous
let's
precedent
get
for an
this show
ongoing
on the road.
investigation.
Good luck.
And have asked the Justice
Don't
Department
forget
to
to
let them
touch
know
the
if
Optiplex
they do give
Micros
that
as you go.
access. How do we know they haven't already done so?
3,
Emmett Flood and
2,
John Kelly were in that meeting
1,
at the beginning.
go.
It's a real concern, Nicole, and actually, during our investigation, there were a number of times where we were concerned that information that was being obtained in our hearings were being passed to the White House. One of the reasons was that there were multiple witnesses who all had the same attorney. And one attorney even acknowledged that he was in contact with the White House general counsel about what his witness in our House investigation was saying. And so it's a real concern. Nicole, never before have we allowed a subject to a criminal investigation to be able to reach into the evidence locker and review the questions that are available or the evidence that exists prior to sitting down for an interview. The best thing the president could do is sit down in Bob Mueller's chair, answer these questions, and move on, because he complains all the time. This is taking so long. Vice President Pence said it's time to wrap it up. But when you tamper with witnesses, when you lie to investigators, and you obstruct the investigation, it's going to take longer.
Let me ask you,
you have 30
something that we
seconds
started
remaining.
the show talking about. The president, who had an opportunity, still has an opportunity with North Korea, heading to Canada for a summit, to act like, for 15 minutes or so, a world leader, chose to spend most of the day today attacking the FBI and the Bob Mueller investigation on Twitter. Yesterday, Rudy Giuliani said that Mueller's investigators are trying to frame the president. At
Well
what
done.
point
Here is your final time.
damage being done
Please
to law
now take off the
enforcement
headset
that is
and exit
irretrievable?
the main play
And I
area.
ask you this because I've talked to folks who think that we're at a moment in law enforcement where the rhetoric against law enforcement agents, the rank and file, who sort of have to go out into communities and be trusted when they knock on a door at a crime scene, there's a parallel to the conversation on race that the president, the point he led us to with his Charlottesville comments. Where do you think we are in terms of what the president has done to the credibility and the safety of our law enforcement officials?
And we're perilously close to it being irreparable, Nicole. My 2 brothers are police
Welcome
officers.
to the
I
Dell
worked
Virtual
as a
Playground.
prosecutor,
You have selected
and
the
when
Product Design
their
Office.
credibility is constantly undermined for political purposes, it starts to creep into the public
Welcome to
conscience.
the Product
And then
Design Office.
those
Seems
individuals
like
in the
you know
public
what you're
who need
doing.
to be jurors
Throughout this
or
game, you'll need to
cooperating
pick up
witnesses,
objects
when
using the
crimes occur
triggers
in
on
their
your
neighborhood,
controllers.
they may start
These are
thinking twice
highlighted
about
now.
whether,
Teleport
the
yourself
government
to
is
the
really
indicated
acting in a
area in
political
front
way.
of the
If you
e-product
talk to
launch
most
timescales.
FBI agents or
Okay,
cops,
let's get
they
started. Good luck.
absolutely
3,
abhor
2,
politics. They want to keep their
1,
head down, do
go.
their job,
Touch
and
the
keep the
highlighted
community
Dell
safe. And for
canvas
the
on the
president
center
to
desk
accuse
to enter design
investigators of
mode.
acting for political purposes, it takes us to
Task
a
1
place
of
we don't
4
want to go,
complete.
and it makes us act like a country who we are not. And that's the long-standing damage he's doing.
Press
Only
the red
Republicans
button to
uniting
start
with
editing the
Democrats
smartphone
and saying
holder.
we're not going to stand for this is the only antidote I see to the president's
Drag the
rhetoric.
glowing orbs to their correct positions to complete the design
Well, I was
challenge.
encouraged that Elise Stefanik on the Intelligence Committee and Tom Rooney yesterday on the Intelligence Committee both spoke out and said they're not going to go along with the president on this bogus spy issue. But again, it's going to take us to really unite. I
Task
just
2
introduced
of 4
legislation
complete.
today,
Press the red
Nicole.
button
It's
again
called
to
Duty
put together your
Report.
rendered
It says
smartphone
that
holder
if
in
you are a federal
3D.
candidate and you're approached by an agent of a foreign power offering
Now use the
information about your
controllers to
opponent,
attach the
you have
parts
to tell
to
the
their
FBI.
correct
I
positions.
think that's a very
Release the trigger when the electricity
bipartisan
goes
issue
green.
that we all should be alarmed, whether it's a Republican or Democratic candidate, that our foreign adversaries shouldn't be able to
You have
contact
1
them.
minute
and
remaining.
Citizens should feel no obligation. We want people to come forward. The Trump campaign did not.
Task
A
3
number
of
of them
4
did not.
complete.
And I
Now
think in
press
the
the
future
blue
we want that
button
duty to
return
exist
to the
in a law.
office.
Congressman, I'm old enough to remember when people just came forward without a law, but I applaud your efforts. Thank you so much for spending time with us. Nick, I want
We're
to
back
ask
in the
you
real
about
world now.
DOJ.
Touch the
Obviously, we
highlighted
don't
Dell
know what
Precision
they're
laptop.
balancing,
Task
but
4
this
of
seems
4
like
complete.
yet another principle.
Well done. Here's your final time. Please now take off the headset and exit the main play area.
There were no questions that remain after the last two classified briefings about the same informant.
Well, look, I just say it's hard to know without understanding exactly what they're offering to the House, right? It's hard to know what balancing act they're striking and what they're trying to do to sort of stop a blow-up from happening by giving a little bit, right? But yeah, it is an important principle. I mean, think back a few summers ago when the entire GOP exploded because Bill Clinton was on a tarmac with the AG, and they were right.